The silent winter beauty of Kabul shrouds Afghanistan's suffering beneath a blanket of snow. A woman scurries into her home lest she be caught breaking the draconian rules of the Taliban, who don't want the world to see what's happening here.
The suffering this winter is again very high.
The people of Afghanistan are facing hunger, mass unemployment, discrimination, dislocation and despair. The United Nations and other relief agencies are trying to help.
We believe that we have to fight compassion fatigue by demonstrating that our activities in the field do really yield results for the Afghans themselves, and in particular for the empowerment of the communities that are trying to rebuild their life far away from fighting and far away from the interests of the different factions.
These are some of the few women in Kabul with a job, making carpets for a UN-sponsored project. These widows survive by working in an agency-sponsored bakery, which supplies bread for 250,000 people.
These Afghans, given the chance, they could do themselves everything. They could stand within their own, provided that they are given the chance.
South of Kabul, the UN has helped repatriate former residents to their battle-scarred town of Logar, where the local hospital is supposed to serve hundreds of thousands of people. But it remains an empty shell, with no medical staff or facilities in a region with one of the highest infant mortality rates in the world.
In this province, our provincial central hospital, and we also had some health facility in other district of this province. All of them is destroyed by war.
Few local doctors are available to treat the sandfly-transmitted leishmaniasis, which has swept across the nation. It's up to foreigners to lead the fight against such diseases.
At the present time, we think there's an epidemic of leishmaniasis. About 6% of the population are affected every year. And as far as we can tell, it's still increasing.
These epidemics are blamed on the massive dislocation caused by 20 years of civil war, which continues to take a heavy toll. Food aid can no longer be flown into Bamiyan from Pakistan. The Taliban forces bombed this airstrip over the new year and have blockaded key roads into the region. Supplies are transported by donkey. Nearby, beneath the famous statues of Buddha, victims of the fighting have sought refuge in these caves. Learning the Quran is about the only education for most children.
If we have no children going to the school, so in the future we may not have nurses, doctors and other qualified people.
These deaf boys are receiving more education than most of their peers.
In Afghanistan, there are about 3 to 4% of the people who are disabled, and out of that, maybe nearly 1% are deaf.
The majority of teachers used to be women, but they're now banned from the classroom, along with female students.
I will appeal the international community to help Afghans to solve the problem of education in this country, and this will be to provide the proper facility for the students and for boys and girls to be educated and follow the education from primary to medium, secondary and higher education, and also professional education.
The United Nations is striving to reduce the biggest concentration of refugees in the world from camps like this one in Pakistan. But many refugees would rather stay here than go home.
افغانستان که با طالبان لپاره افغانستان ده پریدم پامه وقت که طالبانو
As long as Taliban are in Afghanistan, I am not going back because they don't understand our way of life. All they know is cruelty, all they know is killing. They have done nothing for the common person. They have not done anything for development of women, family or for education.
Repatriations are becoming more successful as the UN overcomes obstacles like transport and finance to ensure that Afghans can return to their homeland. This convoy of refugees was helped across the mighty Hindu Kush mountains to their old town in the northeast of the country, which they fled after the Soviet invasion. Aid agencies dream that millions more will go back home, but the only gunshots fired will be to celebrate their return.
clearly another year of humanitarian assistance will not by itself lead to any significant change of the situation on the ground, although it may contribute to stabilizing the situation. So it is clear that unless significant progress is made on the peace track, on the search for a comprehensive settlement of that conflict, a settlement that only the Afghan people and their leaders themselves can find, that this humanitarian assistance will be a recurrent, never-ending, and to some extent futile effort, because we never seem to be able to move from relief to civilian populations to rehabilitation, reconstruction, and development, which is what peace can lead to, must lead to, in the very near future.
The UN says outside help is the key. Other countries must stem the flow of weapons that fuel the war and make renewed efforts to encourage warring Afghan factions to settle their differences.
The UN would like to continue playing this extremely difficult role in a war type of environment, in the hope that humanitarian assistance in a very modest scale, we're talking about an appeal of 157 million US dollars for 1998, covering the needs of all humanitarian agencies. That is very modest. I would say, in terms of what that war is costing or has cost, is a negligible amount of money. And again, for the basic provision of vital needs, ranging from food to health, mine clearance to rural and urban rehabilitation when that is at all possible.
Donors are desperately needed to fund the rebuilding of this shattered country, to create an environment in which peace can prevail.
Oui, je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de fatigue au sujet de l'Afghanistan. Les gens en général, l'opinion publique dans le monde occidental et partout est fatiguée de voir comment ce pays se détruit et s'autodétruit sans arrêt. Mais je crois en même temps qu'il y a la nécessité de répondre aux besoins qu'il y a aujourd'hui en Afghanistan. Nous ne pouvons pas simplement leur tourner le dos. L'Afghanistan est en fait un pays qui a souffert de la guerre qui a été imposée par quelques milliers de personnes. Ces quelques milliers de personnes jouent un rôle très important aujourd'hui, mais il y a beaucoup d'Afghans qui petit à petit reconstruisent leur propre vie, reconstruisent leur village, reconstruisent l'Afghanistan d'une manière ou d'une autre, et nous devons leur venir en aide. Efectivamente, la guerra de Afganistán ha causado un cierto cansancio en los países donantes. Cansancio que es lógico porque esta guerra tiene tantos años que es difícil de decir cuándo terminará. Pero al mismo tiempo hay un compromiso de la parte de la comunidad internacional de seguir ayudando, compromiso que está vinculado en particular con los esfuerzos que millones de afganos están tratando de realizar para reconstruir su país, para tratar de vivir una vida normal. Y ese esfuerzo no puede ser abandonado y la comunidad internacional responderá y debe responder a esas necesidades.
Heuer ist es unmöglich, vom Norden Hilfe zu bringen und auch vom Süden, wo im Moment eine Blockade ist. Die Ernte war in Zentralafghanistan heuer besonders schlecht und die Güter, die sie produzierten, konnten auch nicht hinausgebracht werden wegen dieser Blockade. Das ist schwierig zu sagen, aber es ist eine Tatsache, dass Afghanistan Millionen von Dollar an internationaler Hilfe bekommen hat. Es waren an die 6 Millionen Flüchtlinge, die jahrelang von internationaler Hilfe gelebt haben und unterstützt wurden. Und während des Krieges nimmt man an, dass ca. 1,5 Millionen Menschen getötet wurden. Ohne internationale Hilfe wären wahrscheinlich Millionen Afghanen nicht mehr mit uns.
افغانستان که با طالبان لپاره افغانستان د پریدم په هغه وخت کې طالبانو خوشی نه که افغانستان زه افغانستان ته نظمه که با طالبانو دیره جگری وکی خو جگری پس خاطر خوشیزی بیرون که گردش نکوی زه وظیفه خوش کوم په هغه وخت کې هغه ظلم کوي دیره شیزی ته هم کې بل وزنی.
Nous lançons aujourd'hui un appel international pour 157 millions de dollars des États-Unis destinés à financer les programmes d'aide humanitaire en Afghanistan en 1998, programmes qui seront mis en œuvre par les agences du système des Nations Unies et des organisations non gouvernementales ainsi que le Comité international de la Croix-Rouge. Ce programme est un programme d'importance vitale pour les populations civiles victimes de cette guerre interminable qui dure, comme vous le savez, depuis 18 ans. C'est un effort indispensable pour apporter un minimum de bien-être à ces populations civiles dans le domaine de la santé, dans le domaine de l'assistance alimentaire, de l'éducation et du déminage, qui est un problème tragique en Afghanistan. Mais il est clair que l'assistance humanitaire par elle-même ne pourra que contribuer à venir en aide à des populations nécessiteuses, mais ne pourra pas à lui seul contribuer à la paix en Afghanistan, qui est la priorité vitale pour ce pays. Il faut donc que les parties au conflit afghan arrivent entre elles, avec l'aide de la communauté internationale, des Nations Unies, de l'organisation de la conférence islamique et des voisins de l'Afghanistan, à une solution rapide à ce conflit. Tout porte à croire que les conditions sont réunies pour que cela soit possible et l'aide humanitaire est donc indispensable afin de protéger les populations civiles alors qu'on essaye de trouver une solution qui n'a que trop attendu.
ما بيقوم في شوك هلا مرة تندر بيفات
I did really good. Okay. Yeah.